All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we're going to be in the 168-pound division where Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s CEO gives his 2 cents on what's going on with Canelo Alvarez. And I got to tell you, I agree with him. Pipping the game for real, as a whole bunch of fans are lashing out about news related to Canelo Alvarez's next opponent and maybe even the next opponent after that. Canelo Alvarez, dude, has got to be one of the biggest wastes of time in the history of boxing. As a boxing fan, my perspective. But let's get into what they said and support what I say in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 168-pound division where something very, very insightful was said on Twitter today about Canelo Alvarez, who it has been announced will be fighting John Ryder to defend his 168-pound undisputed championship, and also has another cherry pick signed to DAZN that he will have a choice to fight later in the year if he does not fight Dimitri Bivol, and that is a guy by the name of Edgar Berlanga. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, thank you so much for your continued support for the channel. It really, really does mean a lot. But okay, let's get into this, man, because honestly, man, this is one of my least favorite conversations to have. And it is any conversation that has something to do with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is a guy that I used to really like as a fighter, all the way up to, I would suspect, after the second Gennady Golovkin fight. Canelo Alvarez really bust on the scene at a young age, fought a lot of aged, but big name fighters like Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, took some losses in his career. I think were losses like Erislandy Lara. I thought he lost to Arsen Trout, lost to Floyd Mayweather Jr., but, you know, was definitely a very highly skilled and exciting fighter. Probably the culmination of his career, in my opinion, was Gennady Golovkin 1, where I thought that he won that fight. It wound up being in a draw. A lot of people thought he lost. And then right before Gennady Golovkin 2, he tests positive for performance-enhancing drugs. And after that, it was kind of like, okay, you know, sat around and waited for him to have fights that I wanted to see him take, but they never manifest. However, at this point in time, this last pick of a fighter that he has made, according to Eddie Hearn, John Ryder, has got to take the cake. Now, before I tell you why, and this is what Leonard Ellerbe, who's the CEO of Mayweather Promotions, had commented on. Let me ask you a question. What does Billy Joe Saunders, Rocky Fielding, and Callum Smith all have in common? What they all have in common is that they all lost to Canelo Alvarez and they all beat John Ryder. Now, some people are going to come and say, well, no, Callum, I think John Ryder beat Callum Smith. The simple fact that we're even throwing these names around should tell you that something is very, very, very wrong. However, what Leonard Ellerbe said about it was this. He says that he's like, look, Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter, and I agree with that. What really is amazing, and I'm paraphrasing, is his manager and what they have been able to extract. They are pimping the game for real. And that's the only way that you can describe it, man. This guy, it's just over the top at this point in time, man. Come on now. like, come on. John Ryder, and then to boot. Now, I'm not saying this fight is going to happen, but if it happens, I swear, dude, this guy, Canelo Alvarez, is the biggest waste of time in the history of boxing. And I mean, I'm not saying he's not a big, he's not a big attraction. He clearly is. I'm not saying that he is not a very, very good fighter. Definitely is a very, very good fighter, excellent fighter, right? Top-notch fighter. But his career, from pretty much the second Gennady Golovkin fight on, has been a big waste of my time as a boxing fan, because there was 3 fights that this guy needs to have in his career. One, at this point in time, it's just one of the 3. While you have him fighting John Ryder, who I think may have 5 losses, right? You have Jamal Charlo, who is still undefeated, Demetrius and a 2-weight division champion. You have Demetrius Andrade, who's still undefeated and a 2-weight division champion. And you have David Benavidez, who is still undefeated and a former champion at 168 pounds. Those guys are bigger fights, better fights than any of these Eddie Hearn handoffs that this dude has taken. And we talk so often, people talk so often about what's wrong with boxing and how guys like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. can't make the big fight. How Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia looks like the fight may not happen. Man, we can't get the big fight. But you got the guy who is the quote unquote face of boxing, the guy with the biggest fan base that's fighting absolutely nobody. And you can tell me Callum Smith was a champion. This guy, man, there's a belt on every street corner. Boxing fans that know what they're seeing know full well that John Ryder, Yildirim, Billy Joe Saunders, Rocky Fielding, and John Ryder are not top level fighters. They are top level UK domestic fighters that Eddie Hearn, the promoter, is feeding to Canelo Alvarez for Canelo Alvarez to beat and get paydays under the hope that maybe one of these guys can turn around and beat him, and then you can have a big star over there in the UK. But it is absolutely positively obvious that Canelo Alvarez is not interested in fighting the best, because you cannot tell me you think all 5 of those guys over there from the UK are the best. No way. And especially not this John Ryder guy, who literally already lost to 3 guys Canelo already beat. It's absolutely over the top, man. It's really like people were asking me in the live streams, like, who do you think is the bigger duck, Terrence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez? And I think, the biggest individual duck is probably Terrence Crawford, because he was in a negotiation with Errol Spence Jr. to try to make that fight. But every time I take any serious look at it, it's almost like, hold on, man. The level of just not doing anything worth seeing. And then watch this. Canelo Alvarez had one fight where I predicted he was going to lose, unless he got robbed. And that was the fight with Dimitri Bivol. That's the only fight that he went into. And I was like, you know what? If they do not rob Dimitri Bivol, Bivol will beat him because he has faster hands, and he's a better fighter with better movement, better footwork than the rest of those UK European dudes were. But even then, he lost. And is he going back to fight him right again? No, he's not. He goes to old Gennady Golovkin, and then he goes to John Ryder, and then talking about fighting Dimitri Bivol back at 168 pounds, a weight division down from where he was. It's just out of hand. And I agree 100% with what Leonard Ellerby says. It was like, yeah, man, what a great manager. Because you are extracting every bit of money that you possibly can get out of the fact that he is the biggest draw in boxing. But you cannot tell me, and I mean it, I say it just like I'm going to say it about Terrence Crawford. You can't tell me when this guy's career is over that you guys are going to be looking at him and saying, oh man, what a bunch of great fights he gave boxing fans. Because that's absolutely positively not the case. And you guys can talk all day about who is Charlo beaten and who is Demetrius Andrade beaten. beaten? And who is David Benavidez beaten? Man, give me a break, man. You know that those are good fighters for what we see in the ring. They've undefeated for both, a couple of them for over 30 fights and in 2 weight divisions. You don't get that way unless you're a good fighter. But we will never know because Canelo chose to fight people that ain't nobody asking to see fight. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Gotta agree with Leonard Ellerbe on that. Yeah, good job to his manager because you are definitely pimping the game for real, for real. And that's my opinion on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.